Trump believes that the police are going to follow his instructions to commit crimes, and he's probably right. And you should be very concerned about this right now. In the United States in particular, but also in Canada, police officers are fed a steady stream of extremist right-wing propaganda. And if you think it's bad just on the Joe Rogan podcast and things like that, if you go into some of these police chat rooms, and we do this occasionally just to check things out, look for thin blue line and things like that, you'll see police often characterizing themselves as the victims in society, and that they're just out there to maintain order, and that society would fall apart without them. It's the thin blue line, and it's a culture, it's a club, and it's an anti-society club. And they look at the way that the centrist and the left are portrayed as people who are not strong on protecting society, and they are portrayed as police officers as the only thing that's keeping us from our society falling apart. This is a concern because they also encourage or speak well of police officers who are rough on people, and it's an entire culture, right? It's an entire culture. Now, not all police officers are into this. Some police officers are not on these websites, but you can find it even on Facebook and things like that. And it's the reason that we in Canada have not permitted police officers to have things like thin blue line patches on there, because these are, what started off as a concept of solidarity. Maybe it never was. Maybe it was always this underlying, is extreme right-wing ideology where it's us against them, and the police believe that they should be above the law. And if you think that Trump is not trying to get the police on board, remember that in his first term, he talked about the police should be able to rough people up. He encouraged that sort of thing in his talk. And now, of course, Elon Musk has destroyed the records that are maintained for bad cops in the U.S. So if a police officer's in trouble, if they've been reprimanded or they've been caught doing something wrong, if they, sexually assaulted somebody while on duty, or, whatever they did, assaulted somebody, committed some offense, drunk driving, whatever, there's disciplinary proceedings. And of course, a lot of police officers will quit. They'll just quit during the course of it. They'll move on to another place, or they'll even go through the disciplinary proceedings, but they'll realize that they can't go any further in that detachment because people in the neighborhood know about it, right? And if they end up going to court, they're going to be cross-examined on it. So they quit and they go somewhere else and they get hired. And the police officers who are hiring them know about it, but they'll know about it. Of course they all know about it. They can just phone up, why is this guy applying here and not with you guys anymore? That they do reference checks, right? But the police, again, brotherhood of police, protect each other. They cover each other. So they end up moving to some other jurisdiction where they continue to do this sort of behavior, or they're not the information is not available when they do it again for lawyers to be able to cross-examine them on it, for example. So this database is absolutely necessary. We maintain it in Canada. If a police officer gets in trouble, they have something called a McNeil report, and we get it as criminal defense lawyers, so we can look at it. A lot of times it's not relevant, but you can't just run from one jurisdiction to the next and get a job to avoid responsibility. And so this database was created in light of the police abuse scandals that we've seen in the last few years, and Elon Musk has now destroyed government property, which, I would think would be an offense. But in any event, police don't seem to be have a problem with that, because they think that this database is something that is really set up to persecute them. And this is how it's spelled out for them on some of these websites. And I'm sure you haven't been on these websites, but I have been on some of these websites. We've gone lurking from time to time. Again, extreme right-wing ideology, where it's the police are the only ones who are protecting society, and Trump is made out to be a hero in these websites, and some other right-wing extremists. And this is sort of relies on many police officers not being great critical thinkers. A lot of police officers are very smart and very good at their job, but when you face all of that indoctrination all the time, you face it at work, you face it when you get on the internet, people tend to suck it up. So can you count on the police to protect you in cases of Donald Trump ordering bad things to be done, ordering you to be picked up and arrested? I don't think you can rely on the police. For now, the courts are still likely to ensure that your constitutional rights are still responded to, are still respected. But the police are going to be a problem down the road here, because people are going to have to keep pushing back. And the military, they take an oath to the Constitution. A lot of military officers will not be enthusiastic about being stormtroopers for Donald Trump, but the police are probably the the most likely, the most vulnerable to being exploited by Trump to do unlawful things. So you've got to be very cautious of the police as you're pushing back. You've got a duty to push back, right? This is moving into a totalitarian dictatorship. Trump thinks he's above the law and that he can just give edicts that will be followed despite the fact that they are in violation of the law. Don't expect the police to be the ones who uphold the law when it comes to this. You're going to have to rely on the courts.